ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। ओम श्री हयग्रीवाय नमः। ओम श्री वल्लभा समेत श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। We were in the topic of samvidah Atmatva-upapattih. So in this, the last argument was about whether jnana being nitya, can it have a prasara or a movement? Okay, because in general it is accepted that the jnanam happens because we say that the mind moves through the indriya, but they talk about jnanam itself having that prasara or movement. It goes out through the indriyas and then it takes the form of the object, which is what it is objectifying, correct? That's what we say, that vishayi karoti, like that in Sanskritam. So this, we say that it is not possible because we cannot have something which is nitya. Nitya means it is limitless time-wise. But if something is limitless time-wise, it is also limitless space-wise. So it cannot go out anywhere really, correct, if it is like that. So we say that again, that which is limitless cannot have any modification also. Because when we say time-wise limited, then you can have modification. In fact, time itself is really a change only, correct? It is a measure of change, we can say. Without change, there is no time. So if something is changeless, then it is timeless. And if something is changeless, it cannot be moving around because movement itself indicates a certain change. So with all these arguments, we said that this jnana prasara, etc., you cannot talk about. Then they are now saying what? It's not that we are saying that. Your Shankaracharya himself is talking about that. So he is quoting now what Nanu Shlokaha is that Nana Chidra Ghatodharastitamaha Deepa Prabhabhaswaram Jnanam Yasya tu Chakshuradikarnadvara Bahispandate. Bahispandate is there. So it goes out through the Chakshuradikarna. That is said by Shankaracharya. So iti Shankaracharyahi eva uktatvat katham nitya jnanasya prasara anupapattihi. That is their question. How can you say there cannot be any movement for this nitya jnana? Because Shankaracharya himself is talking about that. Means it is not like that. It's not in the manner you are interpreting it. So what do we say? Iti chet ma evam atma swarupa bhuta jnanasya chakshuradi dwara bahihi nisrita vishayakara parinata antakarana vritti pratipalitatvam eva bahispandanatvena vivakshitamiti tadrisha vrittehe janyatvena tadavachinnam jnanamapi janyamiti vipadishyate iti na asmakam kachid anupapattihi. So what we say, this swarupa jnana is there, but it cannot go out anywhere by itself. Then what is it that is going out through the indriya, like eyes? Means this bahihi nisrita vishayakara parinata antakarana vritti palitatvam is what we are saying. That means what? The consciousness which is manifesting in the antakarana vritti, because the antakarana only can go out through the indriya and take the form of the object. That is what we call as antakarana vritti, the modification of the antakarana. So antakarana is the one which is going out, not the chaitanya. Chaitanyam, Swarupa Chaitanyam is as it is. But it is manifest in that, or some people will say it is reflecting and all that, whatever makes sense. In fact, reflection also, you cannot say it is a real reflection. Reflection, even reflection. Bhashyakar also uses that Pratimbimba Vat, he says in the Bhashya also. So, it is as though it is reflecting in that reflected consciousness, correct? The Pratiphalitattvam is what he is talking about. Pratiphalita or Pratibimba and all is similar only. Whatever is appearing there, whatever consciousness which appears in the manovritti alone, that is the one which is going out along with the manovritti, and then it is the one which makes the object cognized. Okay, let us say. So that is what is vivakshitam means. That is what is meant to be conveyed here. And what we say is that vritti itself is janya, means it is produced, it is born. The manovritti, being a modification of the mind, is born. And whatever chaitanya which is appearing in that manovritti, in fact, the vritti akara chaitanya only is called pramana by us. What is the pramana? The real means of knowledge is the vritti akara chaitanya, or the chaitanya vritti avachinna chaitanya, we have to say. Manovritti avachinna chaitanya is the pramana. The antakarana avachinna chaitanyam as a whole itself is the pramata, and vishaya avachinna chaitanya also we talk about. The object also is not away from consciousness. Consciousness is basically manifest everywhere. Okay. So here this vritti avachinna chaitanya is the one is known as jnanam, really. The vritti jnanam itself is called jnanam because that chaitanyam is manifest there. Based on that only it is called vritti jnanam. That jnanam also is janyam. Vritti jnanam is janyam. It is produced because vritti itself is produced. Along with that, whatever chaitanyam which is manifesting in that or appearing in that also, you can consider it is as though produced. Okay, jnanam api janyam iti vapadishyate iti. So that's what is being described here. Iti na asmakam kachid anupapattihi. There is no anupapatti here because whatever is janyam alone can have all this prasara, all this movement. Therefore, what we are saying is different from what you are trying to interpret. Okay, once we say this, now they are saying, why can't you take this dharma bhuta jnana, whatever we are saying also similar to this. So he is saying, nacha dharma bhuta jnanasyapi evam eva upapattihi kalpya iti vachyam. So they are saying dharma bhuta jnanasyapi evam eva upapattihi kalpya. Means what? In this, whatever you are explaining now, similarly, why cannot you consider the dharma bhuta jnanam? Correct? Why can't we take the, whatever we are also talking about the dharma bhuta jnana? Why can't we take it like vritti jnanam means? That is not possible. You cannot say that. Why? Because what? Swarupa jnanasya eva vritti pratiphala palita palanena sarva karya nirvahane sati tad atirikta dharma jnana kalpanam vyartham apramanikam cha iti. What we are saying is, we don't have to propose another entity. Because when they talk about a dharma bhuta jnanam, it is as real as the Swarupa Jnanam, correct? It is another entity which they are proposing. But for us, what? The Swarupa Jnana only is appearing there also. But that is Upadhikrita appearance. So it does not really change the Swarupa Jnana in any way. But the appearance of Swarupa Jnana itself is good enough to explain all these things. Okay, whatever is happening with reference to the Vritti Jnanam. Therefore, what is the need for proposing one more entity called Dharma Bhuta Jnanam? Where is the pramana for that? You cannot just imagine Kalpya and all that, correct? You cannot imagine. In fact, Kalpana Adhikyam is given as a dosha by Bhashyakara. In the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya, when he is arguing against the Purva-Mimamsakas, so the Purva-Mimamsakas also propose something called Apurva. Okay, because for them there is a problem. There is no Ishvara. They are Nirishvaravadi. But they say karma itself produces phala. But the problem with karma phala is it doesn't immediately fructify, correct? You do jyotishtoma. It is said that jyotishtome, swarga kamaha jyotishtome ne yajet. So whoever wants to go to swarga, you do jyotishtoma. But as soon as you finish jyotishtoma, you do not vanish and go to swarga, correct? In fact, if that is the case, nobody will do, I think. So you gain the phala. But then the phala has to fructify later on after the death of this body. Then who is going to connect your phala, the karma you have done, and the actual that karma phala which has to come to you, correct? Then they propose a new entity called Apurva because they don't have Ishvara. But Bhashyakara says already Ishvara is there. Ishvara is the karma phala data, means what? Ishvara will then connect you with your karma phala. Why do you require another Apurva? And it is not supported by Shruti also, correct? It's your own Kalpana. So he says that is called Kalpana Adhikyam. Is the extra over imagination. Or in modern days, it is called Occam's razor and all that. Because any explanation, if you can explain something in a simple manner, you should always take that as the truth. A complicated explanation and a simple explanation is presented before you. Which one do you consider then? Means the simpler one, that which has lesser assumptions, that which proposes less entities, that is the one you should consider as proper. Anyway, so here your dharma bhuta jnanam is vyartham, it is useless, it's not even required to propose, and it is also not supported by any pramana. Okay, then what further? Eta jnana kriya kartritvam cha atmanaha karma kritam ityetad ayuktam. So they also say that this jnana kriya kartritvam is due to the object itself, correct? Karma kritam. Whenever there is a vishaya, then this jnana does this prasara. It goes out and then vishayi karoti. It objectifies that particular object and it becomes a object of cognition, let us say. Even that we cannot accept. Jnana kriya kartritvam is due to this karma and all you cannot say. It's due to the object. Because we are now asking what? Kim karmana eva jnanam kriyate, then? This karma is object is the one which is responsible for this jnana, or yadva karma nimitti kritya atmana jnanam kriyate. Because there is a vishaya, atma is the one which is cognizing, or that vishaya then becomes evident to atma, we say, correct? Everything becomes evident to atma. So the ability to cognize should already be there in atma. Then whenever a vishaya comes, that vishaya becomes an object of cognition. It's not that the object is producing your ability to cognize. It's not like that, correct? So which one is it if we ask? Na adyaha, it cannot be the first one because the object themselves are jada. So gatavat jadasya tasya jnana kartritva ayogat, it cannot create any jnana or anything. Because the object itself is jada, it is insentient. How will it produce any cognition and all that? If you ask, then the other option is what? Karma nimitti kritya atmana jnanam kriyate, means antye atmana jnana kartritvam swabhavikameva iti praptam, then it will become what? It is a nature of atma. This jnana is swabhavika to the atma. It is not karma krita or anything. Therefore what? Yatha karma kritam deha adhishtatritva rupam kartritvam atmanaha swabhavikameva iti tavamatam tadvat. So even they say, what do they say? See, there is a body. So all these people have one problem. For them also, Atma is not Deha, but there is Dehatma Buddhi. So even Dvaitins, Vishta Dvaitins, all of them accept Deha Vyatirikta Atma. Because otherwise they cannot go to their Vaikunta or Golok Brindavan or wherever it is, correct? Deha. Unless you accept a Deha Vyatirikta Atma and Dehantara Sambandhi Atma, there is no question of, because you have to have Atma which is separate from this physical body, it should be able to take another body also. correct? The Deva Sharira or whatever Sharira, wherever it goes. So that's what we say, Deha Vyatirikta Atma, Dehantara Sambandhi Atma. Those things they also accept, but then what? Everybody experiences Dehatma Buddhi also, they cannot deny. It is the experience, it is universal experience, correct? Everybody takes their body, mind, sense complex as Atma. So there is a Deha Adhishtatritva Rupam, Kartritvam is there. And that whatever that Kartritvam is produced, is they are taking it as Atmanaha Swabhavikam. Although we don't accept that, but they also say what? Even though the Deha etc. is there, Deha cannot have Kartritvam by itself. Because if there is no Prana and there is no Jivatma, Deha doesn't do anything, correct? It will only decompose. Body cannot have any Kartritvam. But without body also Kartritvam cannot be there. That means what? Deha is the Adhisthana. Deha nimitti kritya Kartritvam has to be there then for Jiva. Because the Kartritvam of the Jiva is dependent on a body being there. Whether it is whatever, this Bhuta Sharira or Preta Sharira also we talk about, even after death. That's why for us, this body is always there. Even after some guy dies, immediately there is a Preta Sharira, we say. That Preta Sharira only travels, whether it goes to Swarga, Naraka, wherever it is. So all our rituals we do after somebody's death is all that we do pushti of that Preta Sharira and then do Tata bye-bye. Literally it is like that. We just send it away, then you go wherever you have to go. So anyway, so Deha Adhishtatritva Rupam Karma Kritam Kartritvam is there, Atmanaha. And that is Atma Swabhava, he is saying. Not it is due to Deha. So you are talking about that, then why are you changing your script for Jnana alone? Jnatritvam also is a Kartritvam only, one kind of Kartritvam. So in your mata also you have accepted something similar already. Therefore what? Kincha yadi Atmanaha Jnana Kartritvam Ikam Tarhi Jnatritva Abhavaha Eva Swabhavikaha. Okay, if you say, in fact it is in one way for us, Ishta only. If you say what? It is not Swabhavika. Jnatritvam in Atma is not Swabhavika. Then we don't mind really. We are also saying same thing in fact. Atma doesn't have Jnatritvam. It is Jnana Swarupa. So if you say Yadi Atmanaha Jnana Kartrutvam na Swabhavikam Tarhi Jnatritva Bhavaha eva Swabhavikaha iti Siddham, then there is no Jnatritvam in Atma. But for him it is not Ishtapati. Nacha Ishtapatihi. For you it is not Ishta. It is not desirable. Why? Because Jnatritva Rahitaha Atma Jnana Gunakaha na Bhavati. The Atma which does not have Jnatritvam cannot have Jnana as its Guna. Why? Because Jnatritvam hi Jnana Guna. Being Jnana Guna only, Jnatritvam is there for the Atma. Therefore what? Tasmad Jnana Meva Atmanatu Jnata. Therefore what do we say finally? That Atma is a Jnata and all we cannot accept. It is Jnana Swarupa. Yeah, it is it's only Jnanam. Jnanam is Atma, not Jnata. This Jnata and all is only due to Antakarana. So Tasmad Jnanam Eva Atmanatu Jnata iti Sankshepaha. So that is the brief summary in the end. Okay, once we say this what? Even now they are not resting. Further he is saying what? Nanu yadi Jnana Swarupaha Atma. Okay. Yadi Jnana Swarupaha Jnana-swarupasya Atmanaha nan Jnatritvam tarhi Jadasya Ahankarasya nan Jnatritvam iti kritva Jnatritvasya nirvishayatvam praptam iti chet ma evam. Okay, now he's saying if Atma is only Jnana-swarupa, then, and you say Atma is not a Jnata, then there cannot be any Jnata at all, because what? Ahankara or Antakarana also is not a Jnata. So ahankarasya na jnatritvam. Jnatritvam cannot be there in the Atma, jnatritvam cannot be there in the Ahankara also. Therefore, jnatritvam itself will become nirvishayam, means what? It will not have any adhisthana. Where will it be then? There is no locus for this jnatritvam. So nirvishayatam praptam means no, it is not like that. Why? What do we say is what? Jadasyapi ahankarasya chichaya apatya bhavati jnatritvam iti uktatvat. So what have we said already? We have said that even though ahankara is jada, means ahankara is only antakarana vritti really, the I thought. Chichaya apatya, what but the Chaitanya is appearing there, manifesting there. That is what we call chichaya. Okay, chaya is another word. Either we say pratibimba or chaya. Chaya is really shadow. But shadow also, why we say shadow is because it's not real. There's nothing really there. But it's like shadow. Shadow also has a certain form and all that, correct? You can identify it as something, but really it is not anything. So, chit chaya apatya bhavati jnatritvam iti uktatva. So, jnatritvam is only due to the chit chaya which is appearing in the ahankara. Okay, that we have already said, we are saying. No, he is not accepting that. He is saying, Nanu uktam eva parantu na tat sambhavati. You have said that, but it is not possible, he is saying. Why? So he is now saying, Tatahi ke ka iyam chit chaya apattihi kim ahankara chaya apattihi samvidah uta samvit chaya apattihi ahankarasya. Okay, now what he is asking? You are talking about a chit chaya. What is this chaya? It is the ahankara shadow on the consciousness or samvit's shadow on ahankara. Which is it? Who is having this chaya? So he is asking what? Kim ahankarat chaya apatihi samvidah means what? The samvit is having ahankara chaya. The shadow of the ahankara is there in the samvit. Or uta samvit chaya apatihi ahankarasya. Or the samvit chaya is there in the ahankara. So this question he is asking, and then what? Na tavat samvidaha samvidhi jnatritva anapyabhagamat. So it cannot be that it is samvit chaya is there in the ahankara, because samvit is not a jnata only. Then how can its chaya become a jnata? So samvidhi jnatritva anapyabhagamat. Jnatritvam has not been accepted for the consciousness or samvit. And it cannot be for ahankara also, he is saying. Napi ahankarasya. Why? Because ahankara is jada. How can it have jnatritvam? So jadasya tasya jnatritva ayoga. Jnatritvam cannot be there for the jada ahankara. And further he is saying what? Dvayoho api achakshushatva. You are talking about chaya, etc. Chaya is possible only for something which is chakshusha, means what? That which is known through eyes. Shadow itself is known through your eyes only, correct? If something is not even, cannot be known through the eyes, how can you call it chaya? So it is, these two things both are achakshushaha. So for them there cannot be any chaya also, he is saying. So he is saying, Nahi achakshushanam chaya drishta iti. So there is no chaya or shadow, or even chaya can be even called as echo in one way. So what he is saying is there is no chaya possible for that which is not cognized through eyes. So this is the Purvapaksha. Means what? Ma evam. It's not like that. Why? Ahankara chaya apattihi samvidaha iti na uchyate. So first we are clarifying the two questions he asked. First what we are saying, ahankara chaya apattihi samvidaha iti na uchyate. We are not saying that ahankara's chaya is there on the samvid. In fact, it's the other way around. We say kintu samvit chaya apattihi eva ahankarasya. Ahankara is getting the samvit chaya or the appearance of samvit. So why we say it is samvit chaya means samvit doesn't really appear there. The appearance is as though, correct? That as though aspect only, because of that we call it chaya. Even the word chaya and all, there is a lot of discussion now based on this word chaya, but it's not literally chaya. But anyway, he's arguing. So now once we say this word, so we see here. So samvichaya apattihi nama samvidhi ahankaragata jnatritva chaya apattihi iti na arthaha anusarena. Okay, here he is making another point. Sudarshana in his Vyakhyana has said that Advaitins say that the Ahankara's chaya is there in the samvit. Like this he has said and he has criticized. But that's not correct. So we don't say that, in fact. Kintu, what do we say? Kintu ahankare samvidaha chaya apattihi ityeva. So we only say that in the ahankara there is the samvit chaya. The samvit appears in the ahankara because ahankara is sattva guna pradhana. Okay. So it's not as Sudarshana has said the other way around. In fact, we say that ahankara is having the samvit chaya. Therefore, what chaya cha na jnatritvam yena samvidhi jnatritva anabhyubhagamaha doshaha syat. Further, what this jnatritva is not, this chaya itself is jnatrit, not jnata, or jnatritvam is not the shadow itself, because of which you can say that since the samvid does not have jnatritvam, it cannot have chaya. Okay, we are saying that chaya is a it contributes towards this jnatritvam. It itself is not jnatritvam. So therefore, the samvid not having jnatritvam is not a dosha. Not accepting that consciousness itself is having or is the knower is not a problem here. But then what do we really say? Kintu pratiphalanam ahankarehi samvit pratiphalati darpana eva bhaskaraha. So what we are really saying is what there is a pratiphalanam or reflection, you can say, or appearance or manifestation. So in the ahankara, the samvit is appearing, it is manifesting. Like even the sun is seen in the mirror. Correct? The sun is appearing, it is available in the mirror. Like that, this samvit is available in the ahankara. Ahankara is the one, due to its swachhata, it is able to reflect this consciousness. Reflection in quotations we have to put, okay? It is as though reflecting the consciousness. Consciousness manifests there, appears there. Okay, once we say all these things, what? Nacha achakshushanam chaya na drishta iti vachyam. So again he is repeating that objection that what? That which cannot be seen by the eyes, achakshushanam chaya na drishta, there cannot be any shadow or anything. So the chaya word is taken very literally here and an objection is raised. But then in fact we also answer it taking it as though it is literal. So he is now saying achakshushachapi gaganasya, okay, jale pratibimba darshana. Okay, this is somewhat like the in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya also, in the Adhyasa Bhashya itself, this kind of objection is raised. How can there be Adhyasa of Atma and Anatma? Because you are saying Atma is not any senses. It cannot be objectified by the senses. It cannot be objectified by the mind and all that. Then how can Atma become a locus for any kind of Adhyasa? Only that which is known as an object can be the locus of Adhyasa. Means Bhashyakara there he says apratyakshepi akashe talamalinatadi, like that he is saying what, even though the akasha is apratyaksha, means what, even in most people what do they say is akasha is not indriya pratyaksha, because akasha doesn't have any rupa, so it cannot be chakshusha. Akasha cannot be seen by eyes, but what we say is it is actually cognized by the sakshi directly. It is sakshi pratyaksha, that is the siddhanta. So even though the akasha is achakshusha, its reflection can be still seen in the water, in mirror, etc. We say. Okay, pratibimba darshana. So akasha is now taken as a analogy to explain that even Atma, Bhashyakara says, Atma is still known as Aham Aham, correct? Even though it cannot be objectified, it is prasiddha to everybody as Aham. Aham pratyaya gochara is there for Atma. Therefore, that is good enough for it to be confused with Anatma. Okay. So here anyway, the Akasha is Achakshusha. I think even the Vishishtadvaitins accept that. But there is a Pratibimba Darshana. Now, but in fact, he is now claiming, no, Akasha is not Achakshusha. What is he saying? Nacha alokam tamova vina gaganam na pratibhati iti gaganam chakshushameve iti vachyam. Okay, what he is saying is what? The space cannot be known without light or even darkness, let us say. So alokam tamova vina gaganam na pratibhati. So the gagana space, either it is become evident as it is dark, something is dark, or with light. Okay, with darkness or with light only, space itself is cognized, but darkness and light are cognized by eyes. Therefore, space also is cognized by the eyes, he is saying. Gaganam chakshushameva. Because it is the space is cognized along with light or darkness. Means no, we don't accept that. Gagana bhaga vyapinaha prakashasya tamasaha va chakshushatvepi gaganasya sakshi pratyaksha siddhatvena achakshushatva. So what we say is what? Gagana bhaga vyapinaha. So a part of the space is pervaded by either light or darkness. Okay, and they are seen by your eyes only, we accept. Light and darkness are seen by eyes. So they are chakshushatvepi. Okay, but Gagana is still Sakshi Pratyaksha only. Because Akasha itself is not having any Rupa for it to be uh, for it to be seen by the eyes is the argument. Okay, because Agni is the Rupavat Dravya. So Akasha and Vayu are not accepted as Chakshusha. Sakshi Pratyaksha Siddhatvena Achakshushatvat. Yatra Prakashaha Tamaha Va Upalabhyate Tasya Prakasha Tamo Adhishtana Dravyasya Gaganatvat. So what is this Gagana or space? Wherever you see light or darkness, okay, wherever these two are cognized, available, their Adhishtana is the space. Okay. So Gagana is nothing but the locus where the darkness or light is cognized. But that is not Chakshur Grahya, we are saying. Tadhina Chakshur Grahyam Kintu Sukhadivat Anubhavaika Vedyameva iti Gaganam Achakshushameva. So like even Sukha, etc., they are not Indriya Pratyaksha, correct? Whatever is happening in your mind, your emotions, or even the fact that I know something, I don't know something, all these things are all purely Manovritti Rupa. So they do not involve any Indriya, but they are called Sakshi Pratyaksha. That's why whatever is happening in your mind is all Sakshi Pratyaksha directly. Like this, even the Akasha is considered as only Sakshi Pratyaksha. It's not considered as Chakshusha. Once we say this word, even then they don't accept. They are saying Nacha evam Chakshur Vyapara Bhavepi Gagana Upalambaha Syat iti Vachyam. So if you say like this, now their exception is, their objection is, if Akasha is Sakshi Vedya, then even without any Chakshur Vyapara, etc., Akasha should be seen. You can close your eyes. Do you see any Akasha? You don't see. That is his argument. Because Sukha, Dukkha, etc., you don't have to see through. Even if you close your eyes, you can still be sad, correct? And you can cognize your sadness or joy. But that's not the case with Akasha. If you close your eyes, do you see any Akasha? Means I don't see even Akasha. So, Shakshur Vyapara Abhavepi, Gagana Upalambaha will be there if you say it is Sakshi Vedya, but that's not the case, is argument. But you cannot say that we are saying. Na Vachyam. Why? Gagana Adheya Prakasha Tamasoho Grahanarthe Chakshur Vyaparasya Avashyakatva. That is because the Adheya, that which is located, Adheya means, correct? The locus is the Akasha, the substantive. So the Adhara Adheya Bhava is there between Prakasha and Gagana, space. So the Chakshur Vyapara is with reference to only Prakasha and Tamas. But Akasha is not known through the Chakshur Vyapara. It is purely only Sakshi Vedya we are saying still. Okay. So the Chakshur Vyapara is there, we don't deny. But the Chakshur Vyapara is only for grasping or cognizing the Prakasha or Tamas, not the Akasha. What do we say? Chakshusha adheya prakashadi grahane satyeva tad adhara gagana pratitihi pratiti sambhavaditi. Further, what do we say? Because the adhara cannot be known by itself because it is achakshusha. But when it is known, whenever the something which is located in that is known, at that time only this is also known along with that. But as Sakshi Vedya, because it is not having any rupa, that is the main argument for us. So this Akasha also can be known only along with some other object which is there in the Akasha. Correct? Whatever is there in the Akasha, when we are cognizing that, along with that the Akasha also is known. Now further, once we say all these things, now he is attacking differently. He is saying, Nacha Gaganasya Nasti Pratibimbaha iti Vachyam. So Gaganasya Nasti Pratibimbaha is the next word. Okay, assume that Gagana is Achakshusha, but Gagana cannot have any reflection or Chaya, all these things. If he says, no, that's not true. Why? Janu Danghepi Jale Gagana Pratibimba Satvadeva Agadhatva Pratitihi iti. Agadhatva Pratitihi iti. So, Janu Danghe Pi Jale means what? Janu Danga means up to your knees. Janu is knee. So the length, normally the length up to your knees means like 1 feet, correct? If you keep like this, up to your knees, from your hip, let us say, up to your knees, whatever the distance, that much only water is there, let us say 1 feet of water is there somewhere. But in that you can see lot of space, correct? If you look into it, even if it is clear water and it is reflecting the sky and all that, you can see the pratibimba for a lot of distance. Agadha. Gadha means shallow, but is agadatva means what? You can see lot of distance in the pratibimba. Pratibimba sattva deva agadatva pratitihi is there. The full depth of the sky or the space you can see in the pratibimba. So there is no problem. Tatacha achakshusasya api shabdasya pratishabda rupa chaya drishyate eva. Further what? Even for sound, you hear echo, correct? Echo is there. That is also a kind of chaya. Even though it is achakshusha, we have echo of the sound. So prati shabda rupa chaya drishyate eva. So therefore what? Shruti sutra krit samataschayam chit pratibimbavadaha. So here he is also saying what? The Shruti and the Sutra also. Brahma Sutra there is that. This 2, 3, 46, there is one Brahma Sutra. Prakashadivan na evam paraha, like that. Prakashadivat na evam paraha is the Brahma Sutra. There, because the jiva is having all this dukkhadi, correct? Because of which will Paramatma also will have then all the dukkha of the jiva. Means it is not so. Why? Because it is all only like pratibimba. Prakashadivat na evam paraha. So whatever the jiva who is enjoying this samsaritvam, we can't say enjoying, but whatever, who is experiencing samsaritvam, whether then because of that Paramatma also will become samsari, means no. It is all like even the prakasha adi vat, okay, means even the space is avachinna within a ghata, but does it really become limited by the ghata, even though we talk about part space as a limited space? Similarly, the sun enters the mirror. Now, does it become really limited or what? The pratibimba is limited and all that we can say. But sun, nothing happens to the bimba anyway, correct? So that is what this kind of a thing is accepted even in the Brahma Sutra. I don't know how the Vishishtadvaitins interpret that. We can go and read it. But that is the sutra he is referring to here. Shruti Sutra Krit Samatascha Ayam Chit Pratibimbavada. So the Chit Pratibimbavada, Bhashyakara also talks about it. Even there is a Chandogya Bhashyakara, this Anena Jivena Atmana Anupravishya is there. The Chandogya. There he is clearly saying Jiva is like a Pratibimba. So Atindriyehi Shastra Siddhe Arthe Na Atishankaniyam Iti. Further what we are saying, see these things are all revealed by the Shastra. It is Atindriya. There you cannot be questioning too much. Okay. Atishankaniyam Na. You should not be questioning this because they are anyway you can neither prove nor disprove. If you accept the Shastra as a pramana, then take it. Okay. That is the idea here. Okay. Otherwise what? Yadva is giving another argument now. Ahankarasya nyatritvam chit samsarga kritam yatha vanni samparkadayah samparkat ayasaha dahakatvam tadvatiti. Okay, the other option is what? This nyatritvam of the ahankara is due to the contact of the chit with the ahankara. When both of them come in contact, then the nyatritvam is born. Like even the iron by itself cannot burn anything. But when it comes into contact with fire, a red hot iron ball can burn you, correct? So the dahakatvam is there for ayas, but it is not swabhavika. It is purely aupadikam, correct? It is because of the fire. Like that, here also the nyatritvam is there because of chit ahankara samsarga. Okay, once we say samsarga and all that, again there will be a problem, correct? Because Atma is said as Asanga. Asangaha nahi sajjate and all that is there in the Brihadaranyaka. Asango hi ayam purushaha. So how can there be any samsarga or sanga between chit and this ahankara or antakarana? Means, so that's what the next question. Nanu vanhe he dagakatva satvat tat samparkena ayasaha dahakatvam bhavati. Okay, another point also is raising here. Samvidah tu nyatritva bhavat katham tat samparkena api ahankarasya nyatritvam chet ma evam. So, okay, one is how can there be even any samsarga because Atma itself is claimed to be asanga. Another point he is raising is you are not accepting nyatritvam for Atma. See, in the case of fire already has dahakatva. Then fire and iron come into contact with each other and now the iron ball itself is having dahakatvam because fire has dahakatvam already. But in your case, Atma doesn't have any Nyatritvam. But when Atma and Ahankara come into contact, you are saying Nyatritvam appears. How is that possible? That is his question, which is a valid question in one way. Okay. Okay, so if you ask that means what, it's not like what you say, it is iti chet ma evam. Why? Surya tejasaha dagdhritva bhavepi tat samparkat darpana visheshasya dagdhritva sadbhava darshanat. So what we say is, see, in general, the sunlight by itself cannot burn anything. But if you are reflecting the sunlight through a mirror or through a lens and all that, you concentrate it, correct? Then it will become, it can start burning things. So by itself, it did not have dahakatva, the Surya Tejas, the Dagdritva is not there. But then it comes when it is actually specially reflected through the mirrors. Like that, what? Here also it is possible. Even though Nyatritvam is not there in the Atma, when Atma and Ahankara come together, Nyatritvam can be produced. This is somewhat like the argument of the Charvaka, correct? Charvaka says consciousness, nothing like that is there. And it is also somewhat the argument of the modern scientists. They say that what different chemicals and all that brain and electrical impulses and all come together and then in the brain, and that is what is consciousness. Or Charvaka says you have all this beetle leaf, beetle nut, lime and all that. By themselves there is no red color there. But you mix all of them, then you get, your mouth becomes red. So like that. So this is somewhat like that only. So we are saying when they both come together, then Yatritvam comes. Okay, now he is saying, Nacha Asanga Purushasya Katam Ahankara Samsargaha iti Vachyam. So the next argument is what? Purusha is Asanga, according to you. How can this samvidah or consciousness or jnana swarupa Atma have any sangha with Ahankara? Samsarga cannot be there, any contact or association. Means what we are saying is what? Atmanaha ahankarena saha vastava samsargasya abhavepi adhyasika samsargasya sattvaditi. What we are saying really is what? There is no real contact, but it is only like the contact between the snake and the rope, correct? So we have to say it is adhyasika sambandha only, not real sambandha. So adhyasika samsargasya sattvat, we say. There is no real vastava samsarga is not there. Athava ahankarasya chid abhitam jadatvam. Okay, otherwise another, either you can say adhyasika sambandha, or it is that it is just the Chaitanya is appearing in the Atma, in the Ahankara. And so the Abhivyanjakatva Kritam is that even though this Ahankara is Jada, but it can still manifest the consciousness. That is what we call sentiency and all that. So Ahankaraha hi Anubhutehe Abhivanjakaha san Swatmastham eva Anubhutim Abhivyanakti Darpanavaditi. So like even the mirror, it is able to reflect the sunlight. Similarly, the Ahankara is the one which is manifesting this consciousness, Abhivanjaka. Okay. So being the one who is manifesting that, it is the one which is manifesting. Okay. Swatmastam eva anubhutim, and also it also like knows itself. Correct? It manifests itself because the Chaitanya also manifests in the Ahankara. In that manner, it is also basically cognizing itself. Okay. Like even the darpana means, the thing is, the mirror itself is seen only due to sunlight, correct? Without sunlight, you cannot see mirror. But in the sunlight, mirror also becomes known But the sunlight also is reflected and it is known in the mirror, correct? It is abhivanjaka of sunlight, you can say, because mirror is reflecting because some people may not even see the bimba. They are only seeing the pratibimba, let us say. Means it is the one which is having the sunlight, which is making the sunlight available for cognition. But it itself is only known because there is sunlight. Both are possible in the case of mirror. Like that here also, ahankara, it is jada. But and it itself is in one way manifested or whatever, it is cognized only because consciousness is there. But consciousness itself is available in the ahankara to be known, because that is what we call the entire Pravesha Shruti and all is only about the Upalabdhi Sthanam, correct? So, Swatmasthameva Anubhutim Abhivyanakti. So, it manifests or it makes this consciousness also available to be recognized. Like this, the argument goes. We'll continue this in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद.